actually, over the years, the NGC Bocas Lit Fest has consistently recognized milestone anniversaries of some of our literary classics. This year, Meral Hodges' seminal and enduring coming-of-age tale, Crick Crack Monkey, turns 50. Dramatist Elisha Bartels, her staged adaptation from the novel, features a dramatic reading by acting talents Isoke Edwards, Mandisa Grandison, and Conrad Paris, all part of the first ever virtual NGC Bocas Lit Fest, which is also the 10th annual National Literary Festival. 10 years celebrating Caribbean writers and writing. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, J-Ron.
All right, I think I want to start actually with Meral Hodge.
Yes, hi.
All right, so Meral, I want you to tell me, Crick Crack Monkey has become a modern classic in the 50 years since it was published.
Yes.
No doubt because of what it did for Caribbean literature at the time when it was published. What inspired you to write it back then?
Yes, well, I started it at least while I was a student in Europe. And, I went to Britain to study in 1962. And in the colonial era, going to Britain meant going to, quote-unquote, the mother country, right? But the experience of many Caribbean people was that even though for all of our lives we'd been led to see ourselves as Britain under the umbrella of this mother country, it became very clear that we were not really part of that world. That we had a world too, a different world, a way of life, right? So that looking back at our own world from that vantage point, we could see in sharp focus that we, had a culture, a cultural environment, a history. And I think that I probably wrote this to identify for myself in the first instance what it was that made up our world. It's a kind of stock-taking of a world that at the time was unrecognized. I don't think that we saw ourselves as having any such thing as a culture of our own, and education meant giving you a culture, i.e. British culture. Right? So, yes, go ahead.
Well, apart from us wanting our own identity and culture to shine, today female writers dominate contemporary Caribbean literature. But back in 1970, Crick Crack Monkey was one of the first major novels to be published by a Caribbean female writer. Were you aware of the significance of that undertaking at that time?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just wanted to write this thing and wrote it and sort of gave it to a publisher. But you see that business of the late emergence, or when I say late, women all over the world have emerged into the literary scene after men. And it is to do with how women were viewed and how they viewed themselves in the past. I think that we take for granted the gains that have been achieved by the women's movement in pushing the world towards equal opportunity for women and men, having the same opportunities to develop themselves and develop their talents. And it's so that in the first place, education for girls was limited, and as higher education opened up for women, they found their voices and stepped forward. I suspect that there were women writing all the time, but didn't have the confidence. And the platforms as well. But the confidence. And a lot of women. In fact, I actually discovered that when I was involved in workshops after I came back home, that there were women who had been writing but just putting what they wrote into a drawer somewhere.
Okay.
And it's a question of how seriously women were taken when women did things that involved stepping out of what was seen as their crease. They were viewed with a little bit of suspicion.
And now that we're in 2020, how do you feel about this book this novel becoming a play?
Yes, I'm quite excited by it. I look forward to seeing it, and Elisha is a very serious artist, so it's in good hands.
Definitely. So, I wanna jump across to Elisha for a bit. Elisha, good morning. Can you tell us a bit about the process of taking the novel and adapting it to a play, and to be brought to life by, of course, 3 actors?
Yeah. This was the first time I've ever actually done that, adapt a novel into a script. And to be honest with you, when I went in, I wasn't really sure how I was going to approach it, except that I knew that I loved the book, love the book, and so it was going to work, right? because the book is brilliant. How could it not?
Right.
But what I quickly discovered is that because the book is brilliant, I needed to approach it not so much as a writer, but more like an editor. And for me, what I did was I remixed the novel into a script of dialogue.
Right.
You know, one of my goals was to do as little writing from scratch as possible and to have the bulk of it come directly out of the novel. And I'm really pleased that that was able to happen. And, you know, when I hear it and when I see it on the actors, I feel the way I felt when I was reading the book. And so I have to figure that the process worked, right? But yeah, it was like a remixing of something that I loved already and knew so well and just wanted to play with even more. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so you knew the book, you knew the novel before. You were familiar with it, yeah?
Yes,
okay.
I love this book. Like I said, I actually had to remind Meral Hodge when I spoke to her just before we got to the end of the project. I got to talk to her a little bit, which was great. And I was reminding her that I had introduced myself to her at a Bocas Lit event a couple of years ago, because I had never met her before. And I just felt this need to run up to her and tell her the truth, which is that Crick Crack Monkey is the only thing I have ever intentionally stolen in my life. I borrowed it from a friend as an adult. Like, I never read it in school, right? So my friend had it and lent it to me because they know that I love to read. And I read this book. And when I read it, I was like, I can't part with it. I cannot have it. So they're not getting this back until I.
Elisha, are you worried at all about what Merle is gonna think about what you've done with the novel?
When I started, I was, because, you know, loving it so much, I wanted to do it justice and do her work justice. And it really is so gorgeously written. And so I was very concerned about that. But I have to admit that by the time I finished the process, I feel happy with what we made. And I feel pretty sure she's going to like it, as I say this on national TV and hope that I'm not wrong.
All right, I wanna bring in Ardeen to the conversation here. Ardeen, this is Bocas' 10-year anniversary. First of all, congratulations to you guys. I know that it has not always been an easy road, but this year in particular, you guys have gone virtual for the entire festival. How challenging has that been?
I think it's been exciting more than challenging. I think when we think of it in terms of the opportunity, and I think we've also had the benefit of a lot of practice since lockdown. Because we migrated our content and our programming for the year to online, to the virtual space, once we realized what was happening. We did not see any reason to stop our work. In fact, we felt, okay, here's an opportunity to reach an even wider audience. You know, we have so many fans abroad. We thought, oh, finally, people who've been wanting to not just come to the festival, but actually take part in our event. Now they can do that. And so our Sunday readings, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, bios and bookmarks, has been such a hit because we've been able to talk to Caribbean writers all over the world to a completely global audience. And that has been something very special. And so for us, this is a kind of culmination of that effort. And we really look forward to putting on a great 3-day production all online.
And the production runs from the 18th of September to the 20th, yeah?
Yes.
And where can people get more information?
Folks can actually tune into the live stream via our website, bocaslitfest.com. They can also catch us on YouTube, on our page on YouTube, and on Facebook. So we're cross-streaming across 3 different platforms. So you have all kinds of options available to you.
And that's for everything in the entire festival is streaming across those platforms?
Sorry?
Everything for the entire festival is streaming across those platforms, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
So from 4:30 on Friday, from 12 on Saturday, and from 10:30 on Sunday.
All right, fantastic. Well, I want to thank you very much, Ardeen. Thank you very much, Elisha. And thank you, of course, very much to Meral Hodges for joining us this morning and sharing with us. And we look forward to the Bocas Lit Fest happening from the 18th to the 20th of September. You guys want to go to bocaslitfest.com and check out the schedule, check out all the information. And I look forward to seeing the play as well, Elisha.
I'm so excited.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys. We're here on the Now Morning Show. And, of course, we were just talking to some representatives of the Bocas Lit Fest and, you know, Meral Hodges, amazing writer. And, you know, we look forward to the festival taking place this weekend. Elisha Bartels, of course, and Ardeen Serju, who's here with us, well, virtually this morning. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we have more. Still, imagine that. After all this that you experienced already, we still have more. It's the Now Morning Show. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.